All right, some lemon juice, some sugar, and water. Perfecto. Now let's mix it all up. Mix, mix, mix. Keep mixing. Oh, hi guys. Welcome to the Wonder Lab. Today is such a hot day and I'm trying to make some lemonade. But you see, it doesn't seem like the sugar is dissolving. I don't think it's supposed to be this way. What am I doing wrong? It's still crunchy. Oh, I think I know what I'm doing wrong. Remember my chemistry class? The rate at which a solute dissolves depends upon three things. First one is temperature of solvent, which in our case is water. Second is surface area of solute, that's whatever we're dissolving in a solvent. And third is stirring or agitation. Just so you guys have a better idea about how temperature affects the speed at which things dissolve in water, let me show you an experiment. So into this glass here, I'm going to pour ice water. Into this one, room temperature water. And into this one, I'm going to pour hot, almost boiling water. And I'm going to put a drop of dye into each glass. As you can see right away, higher temperature increases the speed at which the particles move. More rapid motion means that the water particles collide with the particles of dye more often and with greater force. Hence, the dye dissolves faster in a glass with hot water. Stirring or agitation also increases the rate of dissolving because you make the particles of both water and dye move quicker, allowing them to collide more frequently. In the next demo, we will see the effect of surface area on the rate of dissolving. I'm going to put a teaspoon of granulated sugar into one glass of room temperature water and a sugar cube into another glass. I will agitate them at the same time. In which glass do you think the sugar will dissolve quicker? Well, like we saw in the previous example, creating more contact and collisions between the solvent and the outer surface of the solute increases the rate at which solute dissolves. In this case, our solute is sugar. So that means the more exposed surface area sugar particles have to the water, the more chances of contact they have. You can see even when stirring, the cubed sugar still has some undissolved particles, while the granulated sugar has already disappeared and formed a solution with water. Well, these chunks of sugar do seem to be big, and I am using cold water. Seems like I will need to go the long route, a little bit longer route, in order to make this right. So what we're gonna do is crash. No, just kidding. We're just gonna use normal sugar. So what we're going to do instead, guys, is we're going to make a sugar syrup. We're going to dissolve a 1-to-1 ratio of water and sugar in a saucepan on a low heat. Like I said, we're gonna dissolve half a cup of sugar in half a cup of water. And we're gonna stir this until sugar dissolves fully and the mixture looks uniform. All right, guys, let's try this again. This time, I'm going to make this lemonade just right. So now that we have our sugar syrup, I'm going to pour it in. So I'm gonna use a lemon squeezer, which catches all the seeds. Let's add some ice to this. And probably add a little bit more water because it might be a little bit too sweet. Let me give this a try now. It's perfect. It's not too sweet, it's not too watery, it's not too sour. This is perfect. So now you know how to make your own lemonade, and you also know the effect that temperature and the size of particles have on the rate at which they dissolve. And we have used this knowledge to make delicious, refreshing, and most importantly, evenly dissolved lemonade. It's summertime, it's getting hot, so I encourage you to go into your kitchen and try to make your own lemonade. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.